As the soul traverses the physical and metaphysical plane, one of the biggest challenges is what is right relationship for our Atman, our true selves, and with the material world around us. The lunar eclipse that took place this morning is in ANURADHA Nakshatra. And so for the next 2 weeks, the eclipse energy is going to be in this nakshatra. So the way that I organize these videos is to tell you about the energy, because they will describe what type of conflict you can anticipate and the intentions behind what interactions you'll have. So I start with that, and then the second part of the video will be a highlight for your sign so that you can check on exactly where in your life and how in your life this might be affecting you. I do recommend that you watch your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Every person reads differently, so if you're new to my channel, find out which of these works for you. I do these every new moon and full moon. So when the new moon cycles come around and the full moon cycles come around, you know which of the signs in these videos resonates most effectively for you. So Anuradha is the nakshatra of dedication and devotion. It is symbolized by an archway, as in the goal, the thing that you're moving toward. The purpose behind Anuradha is dharma, which is right, what is right. And so Anuradha really looks at right relationship. And it's this period in the soul growth where you're becoming more material. And as you become more material, you start to lose your connection with the divine. And so what Anuradha is doing is it's looking at how are we tending to our inherent worth? How are we seeing to that? And specifically, how we are seeing to that through our relationships. So we're looking at several aspects of right relationship. Anuradha Nakshatra is in the constellation of Scorpio. And one of the elements of Scorpio is deception. We're looking at what is your relationship with deception, or also what is hidden. So to illustrate, here are 2 Anuradha natives. The first is an actor who plays in 2 major productions. One of them is Game of Thrones, in which he plays a person who is completely immersed in espionage. So he deals in secrets, and then in Downton Abbey, he's a newspaper man, and the same thing, he deals in secrets. So on a low end of Scorpio, it's a person who deals in worldly secrets. On the high end of Scorpio, another Anuradha ascendant is C.C. Zane, who was the person selected to write out the Brotherhood of Light, ancient hermetics, into student format so that people could access hidden knowledge, occult knowledge. So you see, what is hidden? Is it the secrets of the world that are used to manipulate people and gain power, or are they the secrets of occultism and spirituality to help people assist in humanity? The next element is our relationship with relationships. So what is right relationship when it comes to relationships? The deity associated with Anuradha is Mitra, and Mitra is a god of the sun, and Mitra exposes things, exposes the path. It's interesting, as in lunar eclipses expose things, right? So you have Mitra, the god of the sun, and Varuna is also associated, and Varuna rules cosmic law. Varuna is also the ruler of the deep and in charge of night. So you have Varuna, you have night, and then you have Mitra, day. And here's the thing with it. Night and day are distinctly different. At dawn, they meet, they merge, and one becomes the other. At dusk, they meet and merge, and one becomes the other. While they have these parts where they merge together, they are distinctly separate. Just like in your friends group, in your relationships groups, with your significant other, with anybody you do dealings with. This is business, this is anything. The people you deal with, you contribute to them and they contribute to you because you are each distinctly different. You bring some attributes to the relationship which enhance each other, but if you all brought the same attributes, it wouldn't really be a relationship, it would just be a continuation of yourself, you see? So you have to be separate, night and day, you have to be separate in order to be distinctive. And in order to have relationships that complement one another, you bring different features. So that's why you separate, develop yourself, and then come together. So while the deity Mitra is a union maker, the ruler of Anuradha is Saturn, boundaries. Another item with Anuradha is right relationship with our experiences. Associated with Anuradha is the lotus flower. And the lotus flower is something that has its roots in the mud and then has a long root, and at the top of the water has a beautiful flower that's seen. Now, if you're looking, you only see the beautiful flower, but the beautiful flower is the result of a lot of work and roots in the mud. The enactment of Saturn. With us as humans moving toward divinity, we need to have our roots in the mud. We need to have our roots in humility, based in humility. And why is that? Well, did you ever grow from an experience that was not difficult? Did you ever have everything going well for you, and then at the end of it, you said, my God, I really am a new person because of that? Not necessarily. It doesn't really work like that. It's the humility, it's the circumstances, the life experience that cause us to be humble, that cause us to feel humility, that enable us to develop the spiritual fortitude to ascend. What is right relationship with devotion? Well, if you merge with a thing, you cannot be devoted to the thing. You cannot actually love the thing because it's part of you. It stops, right? If you merge with the thing you are devoted to, you lose the ability to interact with that thing. Anuradha is the power of devotion and worship, and it's about the coming together. You know, when you have an amazing meditation, or if you work with intuitive gifts, but these different ways that we contact the divine, these different ways that we contact parts of ourselves that aren't worldly parts of ourselves. That's a particular feeling that unless you've done it, you don't know what it's about. So you can't describe it to somebody because they don't know what it's about if they haven't done it. But if you're on this path, the difficulties with experiences, with people, with all of the troubles, when you have that connection, it makes it all worth it. The thing about it, we don't walk every day, all day with that connection. You can step in and out of it. Sometimes you stay with it for longer periods of time than others, but it's not all the time with you. And in a way, you see, that makes it a bit more special because you can connect with it, and then you can come back and do your work here in the material plane with the knowledge of what you really are and with the knowledge of what you can truly access. So that's another way that Anuradha expresses. We individuate from our bliss so that we can interact with and appreciate our bliss. So the lessons of Anuradha are about aspiring toward our inherent worth and doing that through relationship and being devoted to something without losing ourselves in something. And another element of Anuradha is the idea of changing forms. As a soul, we come to the earth and we take a body, we incarnate, because through this incarnation, we have experiences, we have relationships, but we live so that we can grow and learn and evolve. And in the process of that, we have to shake off what our form was when it no longer serves our growth. So we take on a new form. Sometimes that comes in the form of physically a new appearance. Sometimes that comes in a new profession. Sometimes that comes in the form of different personality. Sometimes that comes in the form of different friends, of different groups. But where we are currently reflects what our growth has been to this point. And so when you take on a new form, it may be that you are entering a new phase of life. So whatever's happening, whatever's coming and going, what you do with eclipses is you just let it go. That's what you can do. It's happening. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's happening. What you can do is control the way that you react to it. You can control how you're going to allow it into your life, whatever's happening, and how you're going to move into, with ease, the next phase. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This eclipse energy is occurring in your 10th house. 10th house is your career, your public reputation. It is how you are seen in the world. So, the first thing is, expect a change, because it's an eclipse. A lunar eclipse will take something out. So, watch for a sudden change in your job, in projects that you're doing, something, right? But usually an eclipse is not something that's going to completely blindside you. Usually the crumbs have been there, the clues are there, and maybe you didn't expect it to go so soon, but it's gone now. But an eclipse, like, it takes care of it for you immediately. And you can't fight it, it's gone. You can just handle how you respond to it. So watch for sudden change. The next thing is, do you have right relationship with your work, with your public reputation? Now, 10th house is across from 4th house, so we're going to be looking at both of those. So when it comes to you behind the scenes, like where you've come from and what your relationship is with your origins, with the place you're from, with your family. This could be your actual, like, where you grew up, like your roots. You grew up in a certain place to be individuated. Sometimes people keep those relationships, and sometimes they can't be who they're going to be without individuating entirely. So wherever you are on that spectrum, that's a natural part of changing forms. Right? So now coming back to the 10th house, do you have a right relationship with your professional contacts, with your professional reputation? Is this really you? And the fun part is only you know that. Because if it's your public reputation, other people think something of you. And we can do things to cultivate our public reputation that maybe isn't really us, but it's a public reputation. And it's advantageous in the work world. And what this energy is having you look at is, do you have a right relationship with that in terms of, is it helping you realize your inherent worth, the people you are around, the people you work with? Are you around people who help bring you gains? Are you around people who help you achieve glory? Or are you stuck in some situation where you do all of that for the other people and nobody does anything for you? Because that is not right relationship. So this is what the energy is having you look at. Are you in a mutually beneficial system of reciprocity where everybody is rising, where you contribute to them as much as they contribute to you? And that's in your 10th house, and that's also in your 4th house. Now, the third element to look at is, what secrets are present either in your career, public reputation, 10th house, or home, family origins, 4th house? What secrets are there? Because what happens? In our carnations, we take different forms. We grow, we evolve, we have different experiences, and we get better at what we're doing. But it's all based on the experiences that we have. And they're not always great experiences that help us grow. Sometimes we wish we hadn't have had those experiences, or sometimes we wish somebody hadn't witnessed those experiences. So what happens is, sometimes these occurrences become baggage that other people know about, or that just we know about, and we continue to carry, or sometimes people carry it on our behalf. They carry it for us, right? And what happens is anything that is a secret has a different energy because it's this current under the ground. It's this element present in conversation that will direct a conversation. And it's not really about that, but we have ways of reminding ourselves of the ways we screwed up, or other people have really subtle ways of continuously reminding us of how we've screwed up. Those kinds of secrets, that kind of baggage. Now is the time to release that. Now is the time to set that aside. Just again, like imagine it's something that you're carrying. Imagine it a very heavy sack. And you are traveling your road. And you are changing forms, and you are becoming more of what you are aspiring to be, but you're still carrying this sack, and it slows you down on your road. So what you can do is set it down. That's it. If it's appropriate, you can forgive yourself. It's not always appropriate. It's not always necessary. What you can do is just stop dealing with it. Acknowledge it, though. You can't just pretend like it isn't there because it's a secret. You've been ignoring it. That's why it's still a secret. Bring it to the surface. You have it bring it to the surface. Bring it to the daylight. Because anytime you bring something to the surface, it loses its power. Any threat it had when you bring it to the surface, now is the time. You're calling in the chips. So it will do something or it will diffuse. So what the energy is saying right now, bring it to the surface. Diffuse it, then walk away from it. You don't need it anymore.